Live from downtown Vancouver at the Vancouver Film School campus, it's time for EP Live. Hey, welcome to EPN. My name is Victor Lucas, and we bring you the latest in everything cool every single day. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of EP Live. We've got an awesome episode for you today with a fantastic guest. His name is Dan Payne, and he has played lots of very cool characters, most recently King Shark. We're going to get into that in a little moment, but first I have to remind you that we shoot this show live at the VFS Cafe in downtown Vancouver at 390 West Hastings, so you can come and join the audience. And it's great to see everybody today. Thank you so much for coming. It's awesome. Got a great crowd today, an all ages crowd, which I love. And we have to dedicate this show to Molly Ann Missy, who says, "Way to go, Andrew, represent." This was Andrew, who was on the show the other day. I was in town in Edmonton just last month, and she happened to be wearing her EPN t-shirt for Physio. So way to go, Molly Ann Missy. This rundown is all yours. It looks like the next big Zelda game is on the way, but we're probably going to have to wait a little while. Xenoblade creator Monolith Soft, which has assisted on the development of the last two console Zelda games, Breath of the Wild and Skyward Sword, has begun hiring for a new Zelda project. According to job listings on their website, they're looking for artists, programmers, and environment designers, and judging by how many new people they're looking for, it could mean that they're taking a bigger role in development this time around. Monolith's main job on Breath of the Wild was creating the game's vast landscapes, so the new game could be even bigger and more expansive. It will probably be at least a few years before we start seeing it, though. In the meantime, a remake of the Game Boy classic, Link's Awakening, is coming to the Switch later this year. It just gets me all sort of amped up when I hear that more Zelda is coming on the way. That's my favorite game of all time, Breath of the Wild, and Monolith contributed an incredible creative angle to that game because the environments were the story. You could just go wherever you wanted. So in terms of what I want next from a Zelda experience, and I'd love to hear from you guys as well. I wouldn't mind, traipsing across the environments that were already created for us with Hyrule a little more. I don't want, to basically do like a reverse of the story that we got, but there's lots and lots of nooks and crannies and lots of really rich detail that they could still, make very cool for us in some kind of a sequel out there. Yeah, I do want it to get a little bit larger. Maybe we get some sailing missions or something like that. That would be pretty rad as well. Maybe we go off into some far-off islands, or maybe we have all of the Hyrule and then we get to travel to somewhere else. Who knows? Monolith is incredibly talented, and the one thing that I do know is that they won't release it until it's awesome, and I can't wait. And I know you can't either. Speaking of things that we can't wait for, the next Avengers movie has already scored a big win at the box office. Avengers Endgame is set to open in China on April 24th, 2 days before its release in North America and most other territories. This makes it the first Marvel movie and one of the first big Hollywood movies in general to open in China before the United States, further signaling how China is quickly replacing the U.S. as the world's most valuable film market. This also makes it likely that Endgame will have the biggest worldwide opening of all time, with some predictions putting it as high as $800 million. That's the opening. And I think that's probably going to happen. The current record holder is Avengers Infinity War at $640 million. Who on earth, who has ever seen a movie, period, isn't already lining up to see this movie? This movie has all of us on edge. We all want to see what the culmination is. We want to see Thanos get his butt kicked, and the rumor is that he might get his butt kicked from the inside. That's what people are talking about. Ant-Man might actually. Anyways, it gets a little scatological to talk about it in that way, but we might be seeing something very different. And there's an internet meme happening right now. People are making fun of that right now, but that could be amazing. But the less said, honestly, at this point about Avengers Endgame, the better. We just want to see it, yes? Who's with me on that? We don't want to see any more trailers. We don't want to see any more posters. Just want to see this freaking movie. Can't wait. All right. Now, a lot of big game makers are pulling out of E3, but thankfully one of them will still be there. Ubisoft has announced that they will be at E3 this June. They'll have their customary press conference on Monday, June 10th, where they'll make new announcements, and they'll also have a booth on the show floor where attendees will be able to get their hands on time with new titles. This should come as a sigh of relief for E3 fans. We knew they were going to be there. Sony shocked the industry by pulling out from the event with no press conference or booth on the show floor. Now, I've been to 24 of the 24 E3s. This will be the 25th one. I've never seen an E3 without Sony there. And in fact, Sony has been one of the main reasons why E3 has kicked so much butt over the years. They've thrown the best parties. They've had really big reveals. They've had amazing success stories with that show and their press conference in particular, so it's a shock that they are not going to be there. But Activision also won't have a booth, and EA will still be hosting their EA Play event across the street, but they're not going to have a press conference there. Everybody's doing these video things, and I've spoken at length how important it is to come together in Los Angeles to celebrate the cultural sort of resonance of video games with E3, and I think we're transitioning. I think part of this equation is that Google will have a presence at E3. I don't know yet if Apple is going to have any kind of a presence, a visible presence at E3, but Google and Apple are two big names in games that we are talking about this year. Whether you're, excited for their products or not, they're in this business now, and Microsoft is changing their business before our eyes. They might announce that, Xbox Live is going to be on the PlayStation 5, at E3 this year. Everything is crazy. But that's what's cool about video games. There's no way to kind of sort of determine that it's finished. It's always changing, and it's very fun to keep talking about it. And that's why the slogan is play forever. Am I right? Okay, speaking of play forever, let's take a look back at this day in everything cool. Welcome to This Day in Everything Cool for March 29th. On this day in 1974, humanity got a closer look at one of our smallest neighbors. NASA's Mariner 10 space probe became the first spacecraft from Earth to fly by Mercury. The probe was launched a year earlier and was equipped with special scientific instruments to measure the atmosphere, surface environment, and other characteristics of Mercury, as well as another neighboring planet, Venus, which it flew by a few months earlier. Cameras sent back better images of Mercury than we had ever had up to that point, giving us our first good look at the surface. Mariner 10 completed 3 flybys of Mercury and then ended its mission by spinning into orbit around the Sun, where it's presumably still in orbit. Back here on Earth, March 29, 1927 saw humans travel faster than ever before, at least on land. The Sunbeam 1,000 horsepower car broke the land speed record, racing by at 203 miles per hour, making it the first land-based vehicle to travel faster than 200 miles per hour. Even though it was firmly on the ground, the car was actually powered by 2 aircraft engines, and its body was specially designed to be streamlined and more aerodynamic than most cars, with an enclosed cockpit and driver's seat. The car didn't hold the land speed record for long, though. Thanks to rapidly advancing technology, the record was broken just a year later, and dozens of new records have been set ever since. When cars travel that fast, they sure get hot, but some like it hot. On March 29, 1959, the iconic comedy Some Like It Hot was released in theaters. Directed by Billy Wilder, the film starred Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon as a pair of musicians who disguised themselves as women in order to escape the mob, and along the way, they woo the one and only Marilyn Monroe. It wasn't all laughs, though. The film's portrayal of cross-dressing made it the target of socially conservative activists, and it was actually refused classification by the Motion Picture Production Code, effectively banning it in many theaters. That didn't stop it from being a hit. It was one of the most successful movies of the year, one of the last big movies for Monroe, and it received 6 Oscar nominations. Some Like It Hot was selected for preservation in the U.S. government's National Film Registry in 1989.
But you don't understand, Osgood. I'm a man. Well, nobody's perfect.
Yes, as the saying goes, we talk about everything cool. All kinds of crazy things, like Some Like It Hot, which is awesome. All right, you guys, we had Corey Robson on the show a couple of days ago talking about photographing the Arrowverse, and that was super fun. Today, we have an actor who has appeared many times in the Arrowverse on shows like Legends of Tomorrow. He might have been in Legends of the Fall, we're going to find out, but he's also recently been in The Flash as King Shark. Please welcome to the stage and to the show, Mr. Dan Payne. Come on up, Dan. Woo. Let's get this straight. Were you in Legends of the Fall?
No, but that is one of my favorite movies.
It's a great movie, right?
Yeah,
the fly fishing, it was very cool.
Exactly.
But you have appeared in the Arrowverse, and you've had a nice career here in Vancouver playing characters of, the fantasy realm. And presumably in front of green screen and presumably with effects to be added later. What's that like for you as an actor?
Well, I love wearing tights.
Oh, yeah.
It's been great. Every character that I do get to play has a different a backstory, and there's a lot of it's fantasy. I
Yeah.
get to create and play. I mean, acting itself is creating and playing, but when you get to have a superhero background, I mean, it doesn't quite get better than that.
I loved your work as King Shark. I thought that was a fantastic, surprise because it humanized this giant beast who became you, and you had to do all kinds of crazy stuff inside of cold pools, and you had to be shirtless for big chunks. It was a commitment.
It really was, yeah. So for me, the fact that Shay Lambden was the scientist who.
There you are, he's shirtless right there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Put a shirt on, fella. So yeah, I got to become Shay Lambden, and there was no cold pools. The cold pool is actually the ocean.
Ah, okay.
And it was 1 degree weather, and the
Crazy.
set, yeah. The people I'd worked with there, I've worked with them before, and they were amazing. They looked after me like you wouldn't believe. I actually had a hot tub on a floating a boat nearby just in case.
Oh, wow.
Which I dumped into immediately.
Yeah.
Let me just tell you straight away. But I climbed in. It was 1 degree water. I had to go to the bottom of a 6-foot ladder, hold my breath as long as I could, which is about 0.001 of a second.
But
So-
you had there were cameramen in the water though, right?
No, they hadn't.
No.
No, they had an arm. They had a they had a nice arm out over the water. Yeah.
So they put the robot in the water, and then they said, "Go, Dan,
Yeah,
go."
and now you get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cold. And they're like, we're gonna put a little water on your back just so you get used to it before you go in. I'm like, no, I think let me just go cold turkey.
Yeah.
Like, no, you don't understand. Your breath will disappear. I'm like, oh. So he splashed water on me. Yeah, okay, let's do a little splashing, and then I'll go in. Yeah.
When did you guys shoot that piece? Because it just aired like a few weeks ago. So when did you actually? Was it in the middle of winter?
Yeah, in January.
In January.
We
So
shot
you
in
got
January.
a polar bear swim.
I did,
A
yeah.
bonus polar bear swim.
Yeah. Do I get a placard?
Yeah.
No.
And how was it on The Flash? Because that's now in its 5th season, I think the show is. I'm a big fan of the series, and I love all of the special effects and the cool stuff that they do. But how is the team that works on The Flash?
Unparalleled. Like, it starts from the top. Grant Gustin is a champion of a man.
Yeah.
He's concerned about everybody on that set from the top, and he's the top. He sets the tone.
Yeah.
And he must have checked in on me, 10 times to make sure I was doing it, because I'm standing out. Everyone's wearing parkas and toques, and
Yeah.
I'm standing there in tattered jeans. Not smart, but it was written there. So he would come over and make sure I was okay. He made sure everything was going the right way. Just an absolute beautiful man. And they've all worked together, so it's like a family idea.
Yeah.
The concept was the tone of the set was very family. And I was welcomed right away, felt very supported, and had a great time. I had an absolute blast.
So what's going to happen now with King Shark that we've seen him get humanized, and that he's got a kind of a good side to him, and there's a bit of a sacrificial sort of element that happens. I don't want to spoil that episode, but is there talk of you returning or being used in different kinds of ways now?
They did mention that it was multiverse.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of options for,
Oh, that's cool.
right? So
Yeah.
various incarnations of the same. So the same way that the love interest on the show
Yes.
was from another,
Yep.
like the multiverse crossovers could happen. They did mention that if I went and sacrificed to make the sacrifice have more weight, that I wouldn't be able to become human again. But they kind of hinted at the fact that that doesn't mean it's final, because the cure. I don't know if I'm saying too much.
No,
When do
you
know
are.
if you're saying too much. Where's the censor? The cure could always be modified.
Yeah.
And I'm, fingers crossed.
Well, it was a good role. Like, you had a very nice, a beefy moment in there, lots of them, and it felt like there was going to be some resonance in there. Did it feel like that when you saw it and you read the reviews? And have you done a little searching to see how fans took to that episode?
I have. I know how broad that verse is, that universe. The fans are huge and amazing. And
Yes.
I did read up on it, and it looked like it was well received. And I love the fact that King Shark was violent and evil.
Yeah.
And when it became Shay Lambden, he was remorseful, and he was aware of the fact that there was a loss of control.
Yeah.
And he was grateful to be human again. So
Yeah,
there was redemption.
There was a Hulk Bruce Banner kind of element in there, which was
There
really,
was, yeah.
really cool.
Gray, green. It's all the.
But I also love the battle with Grodd too, man. That must have been a trip for you to watch that episode and have all of those pieces put together.
I was blown away. For TV to have that level of CGI and that, it was mind blowing. Like
Yeah.
they've won awards for it, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
That's
I was
awesome.
I was like, that's me, sort of.
Well, what's crazy is we had David Hayter on the show not too long ago, and he does the voice.
Yeah.
Of, have you ever met David Hayter in passing or
We
at a
have
party?
crossed paths. Yeah, never like the let's have a beer, but
Yeah.
he's amazing.
Yeah.
And he does such a great job.
That's so cool, though. We had 2 parts of King Shark on you.
Right.
Now we just need like 1 or 2 of the effects artists, and the whole trifecta is put together.
And if
yeah.
you stack David and I on top, we're about the same height.
There you go.
As King Shark.
There you go. Very cool. Now you've also been in Legends of Tomorrow, and who did you play in that?
Obsidian.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool character as well. Masked, which a lot of characters I've done have been masked. I had a complex. Thank you, my therapist, wherever you are.
Yeah.
But yeah, the powers that Obsidian had, and that he was potentially a dark, sinister character, was a lot of fun too. It's always, playing the bad guys.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a draw for that.
That's awesome.
And also, Lance, need to help me out with names, but the older version, still super handsome, of Obsidian.
Yes.
What an honor to be able to play a younger version of the same character for that show.
I don't know who that actor is. Lance Henriksen?
Yeah.
Really? Seriously? No
Yeah.
way. You played the younger version of Lance. 'Cause I'm not caught up there on Legends of Tomorrow yet.
Spoiler alert.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no.
I mean, honestly, could there be a better time to be an actor in Vancouver? Because you've been doing this for a while, but now there are so many shows that are hits that keep going and going and going. Has it been surreal to just bounce up from one of these, big successful shows to another one?
I love working in Vancouver. There's a lot of talk of, well, you should get down to LA, and LA is where it's at. I don't know that that's 100% true. Sure, LA's got a fantastic draw, and it's a big forum. But here in Vancouver, the talent level of crews
Yeah.
and cast and directors, and it's world class.
Yeah.
So we are creating world class content across the board. It's getting noticed,
Yes.
and it's expanding. And I am grateful to be here because I don't know if the term blue collar actor, but I've been very fortunate to have an extremely good time in this career because of this town and because of this industry and the quality that it can provide.
That's awesome. There is this sort of commercial campaign that's happening right now about Canadian production and lots of flashes to all of these, no pun intended, to all these superhero shows and Deadpool, and it's really remarkable. When you were coming up as an actor, did you sort of envision that it would be the hotbed that it is right now?
Not really. No, when I started, I literally just loved the idea of the career, and I had been a pro athlete, and I loved performance-based careers in that respect.
Where were you an athlete?
I played in Holland. Played volleyball in Holland.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I got old.
Yeah.
Fast. So I came to Vancouver with the dream of acting, and it was more of an MOW kind of a town.
Yeah.
But we have definitely transitioned. They've kept the MOW aspect, and that's a wonderful element. That's like bread and butter for a lot of actors.
Yep.
And I really enjoy that too.
Not
You're
Lori
crushing-
Loughlin anymore, though.
Not as much.
No. Okay.
No.
Okay.
School's important. But anyway, so we had the MOW, and I don't, Lori, I hope everything's all right for you. So the MOW world is bread and butter, and I think, crushing a movie out, a feature-length movie in 14 days or sometimes 12 days is an art form in itself.
For sure.
And then every week they're putting together, like that fight you said between Grodd and King Shark.
Yeah.
They put that together from January till when it aired.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's possible except for the extreme talent that they have.
Yes. And
Here.
a lot of that is also based here, too.
100%.
Because the visual effect, and I think that kind of, like, all of these shows are so vis effects heavy, the fact that this is the visual effects capital of the world now, it all sort of fits, right?
It really, really does. And
Yeah.
I don't know the names, but I'd love to just, if I could, list off the thank yous I'd love to be able to give, because they create the quality of the content for
Yeah.
you to be a part of, and then you get to assume, they assume that that's you.
Yeah.
You're like, thank you so much for boosting my role, because I'm King Shark.
Yeah.
And that shark looks rad, and that fight was epic.
Well, I think there's more, awareness, and I think that there's a lot of people sort of pushing for more award recognition and more discussion around that. So that's what this show is going to be about too. Like we had the effects artist and visual effects artist that worked on Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse on not too long ago, and we freaking love that stuff. Everybody that's watching this right now, and we're all in for this, and we love shows like The Flash. But you were also on Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
You were also on Stargate. And do you get to interact with the communities and the fans of these shows at conventions, or?
I have had a lot of fun. I got to go to conventions all around the world. I've been to Australia, Germany,
Right on.
England a few times.
Yeah.
Which it's mind blowing. Like, I'm kind of a peripheral character in a lot of those shows, but the fan base is so intense and so awesome
Yeah.
that I get to go.
Yeah.
And they want my autograph, which is super random to me. But I'm so grateful that that's actually, because I get to travel and see the world because of people loving the shows that I get to be a part of, which I'm already grateful for. So
Yeah.
it's nothing but a win everywhere I look at it.
Well, when you look at your IMDb page, you've got an amazing resume. You've worked on tons and tons of stuff, and you've had
Are you
lots
saying
of.
I'm old?
No, I'm
Oh,
saying
okay.
that it's an
Sorry.
amazing resume. You're
enough.
young in my eyes. But when I see the amount of work, that those opportunities and the amount of those opportunities is really fun and impressive, man. That's super cool.
I really think it's only here.
Yeah.
I think in LA, it's like a bigger bust.
Yeah. Well, I think what happens is, especially for Canadian actors, they go to LA, but then they end up working in Vancouver or Toronto.
Well, you used to joke that you go down to LA to book a show here.
Yeah.
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 I just stayed. I didn't want to
Yeah.
save the flight.
So you've got an impressive collection of characters, but I want to know who has been your favorite. What have you had the most fun stepping into the boots of?
I'm on the spot, hey?
Yes.
Uh,
Yep. The hot seat.
The hot seat.
Yes.
Well, King Shark being the most recent is pretty cool. I really hope to expand on that one and see what happens.
I think Amanda Waller has got to put the TV Suicide Squad together, and because we were talking about this, Arrow is ending next season. Why not make a Suicide Squad TV show and bring King Shark into that mix? And then you're just making, if anybody from the CW is watching this,
Get Manu back.
Yeah, get Manu Bennett back as Deathstroke, and you make all of those villains stronger, and then when they go back into the superhero universe,
The weight is, yeah.
they got a lot more, palpable
Gravitas.
and gravitas, and they're scarier. That
Yeah.
would be a great move. Let's
in.
make it happen.
Who do we talk to?
I don't know. Should we start writing right now? I got a computer ready.
Young man? No. I think it'd be great.
Yeah.
So my favorite, I did a web series a while ago called Divine, the series.
Yeah.
And that was a character that I wish had a chance to be developed more.
Yep.
The story was unbelievable.
Who did you play in that?
Divine.
Divine, okay.
Yeah, the character's named Divine, an immortal who was punished with immortality in the Spanish Inquisition for the horrible things that he did. And he spent his entire immortality until we catch up to him trying to find a reason to get his mortality back so that he could move on from this mortal coil. And he figured that it was getting rid of the demons in the world that would give him that freedom.
Awesome. And you can watch this right now if you want.
I believe it's still online. It's a Frostbite Pictures product, and I know that they have a website. Ivan Hayden, if you're out there, let's link that up here. So yeah, but it's a great character. And then I don't. There's so many.
I know.
Honestly, I've been very fortunate. There's a lot of great characters.
That's awesome. Talk to me about your first day on set when you said you took the plunge. You said I'm going to be an actor, and you got that. You booked a role, a speaking role, or some kind of role that had some resonance for you that you kind of knew you were going to carry on with this.
I was in Calgary at the time,
Okay.
and I booked a role as an ancient Egyptian god.
In what?
Myth Quest, it was called.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. People are like, what? Myth Quest, I can't even remember the name of but I'm an Egyptian god, and it turns out that character was bald.
Okay.
So straight out of the gate, I get my hair gaff-quadded, which is a horrible, basically cement back, and a skull cap on, and go on set. It takes forever to get ready, and this is my first experience. I'm basically in a chair for 4 hours getting my hair
Oh, no, man.
pinned down and a skull cap on. I'm like, this is super fun. And then I wind up on set. I get on set, and I think I said 3 words, and then some guy shoved a knife in my guts, and I died.
Yes.
So I was like, you will not, oh. And they're like, hey, acting. And then 3 hours of getting it removed. So that was
But it was magic.
trouble. No, I was hooked from day one.
Yeah.
There's this euphoric when you get a job, like when you get your agent calls and says you booked.
Yeah.
My kids have heard the noises. They're very weird noises. When I do my happy dance about how I just booked a job, they're like this. I think Daddy got a job. But it's a very euphoric thing, and to me it doesn't matter because any day on set is a great day.
Yeah.
I love this job. I love this industry, and I love the people in Vancouver, the community that I get to be a part of and work with. It's pretty phenomenal.
It's getting bigger, but the thing that I know about the Vancouver industry is that you will meet and work with the same people again and again.
And there's always something to learn too. There's such quality.
Yeah.
The caliber of talent in this town is such that it doesn't matter who you work with, you're going to learn something, you're going to pick something up. And I'm grateful for that, because it, like I said, every day on set's a great day, but it can be in a different way. I've been very fortunate to play in the world of stunts as well.
Yeah.
And I walk funny because of it. No, you know, I meet people who, like one of my friends, can I throw names?
Of course,
Glenn
yeah.
Ennis,
Yeah.
He was the Bear in The Revenant.
Yeah.
And my buddy I worked with, Dan Cudmore, who was Colossus on X-Men. We all did Warcraft together.
Oh, wow, okay.
We were orcs. And we got battered and thrown around and stuff, but we had a blast doing it, you know?
That looked
hey,
like
pass me my leg.
That looked like a fun movie to work on.
It was
insane.
It was intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very intense. And we were wearing those goofy motion capture tights.
Yeah.
It's very flattering.
How was Duncan Jones to work with?
So zen.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, I don't want to get in trouble, but he seemed like just like a hippie who just rocked up and like, let's make a movie, man. That sounded a little Matthew McConaughey. All right. But he was really zen, and it didn't seem like he had a lot of pressure. There's a $300 million movie, and
Yep.
Legendary's talking to him and so on. And you know, he's like, great. Okay, so you know, like
Yeah.
he's just, so it's
Yeah.
it's kind of, directors set the tone.
Yeah.
So if they're like, okay, I'm gonna lose my career if we don't, you know, then everyone's tight.
Have you had that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's not fun, but then again, this community, so in Vancouver, this community, the actors, the veteran actors, they have an ability to kind of transfer their zen. So if they see a director struggling, it's a community. They step in and they help. And I've never been a part of a project that didn't work out, because there's a team element. There's no cutthroat, I'm the lead, well, not in any show I've been on.
That's great.
Heard of stories, but
Yeah. Did you work on the Planet of the Apes pictures at all?
no, I didn't.
No, because those all shot up here. Have you ever had a moment of being starstruck? Have you worked with somebody and it just flipped you out? You realized, oh my God, I'm talking to this person.
Yeah, you always expect, you know, like, oh, if I ever see Johnny Depp, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah.
I never, because I've had really cool experiences and crossed paths with amazing people. And this starstruck is when I've kind of just, you know, sat there like, hi, you know, and I can't quite get it. But most of them I'm like, oh, wow, I just want to pick your brain and talk to you forever. But Joan Cusack.
Oh, yes.
Joan Cusack was just a force.
She's amazing.
And she's hilarious.
Yeah.
And she's so free-spirited. So I showed, and it was a Muppets movie. Yeah, I wasn't playing a Muppet. So it was me. I was kind of anyway. So I meet her and I was just blown away. She's such a larger-than-life character. She's so funny. I don't want to throw her under the bus, but one of my favorite things is she's just so not worried about anything that's going on. So if she didn't know her line, we'd be right in the middle. She's like, line! Line! Rookies, you know, and it's just kind of, you know, like, well, aren't you supposed to? And she's just such a beautifully happy, on the outside anyway, spirit. And I just sat there going, I love you.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
Learned a
it's really
lot.
cool. Yeah.
What's next for you? Have you done your book-to-gig happy dance recently?
Not quite. There's a few irons in the fire.
Okay.
I'm working with a couple of gentlemen. I did a movie a little while ago, if I can mention. Yep.
Yeah.
It's called Devil in the Dark. It's on iTunes. It's a thriller. I'm extremely proud of it. And my buddies Carrie and Ben, the three of us are trying to create movies ourselves and produce movies ourselves.
Very good.
And it's a tough battle.
Yeah.
I'm learning a lot in a hurry about doing that. I'm writing a movie right now that Carrie is the writer. I'm writing the first pass, and he's going to clean up the mess. But we're excited to start making our own content, because I want to be able to do, not that I'm old, as you mentioned earlier.
Yep. No, you're a
That's
young
good.
man. Young man. Just getting started.
I want to, at this point in my career, I want to work with friends. I want to do projects that I really want to be a part of.
Yeah.
That's not to say that any job won't create the happy dance, because every day on set, like I said, is a phenomenal day.
Yeah.
But I'd like to be able to have my hand in the creative pie and shape and direct some of my career from here on out.
And I expect that you will.
I hope so.
That's awesome, brother. Great to meet you.
You too. Thank you
Continued
very much.
success, and I hope to see you very soon in the, or do we still call it the Arrowverse now that Arrow is, I guess we have to, yes?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay. Well, I hope to see you in the Arrowverse soon. Thank you very much, Dan Payne. Thank you for being on EP. Now it's time to throw it to a buried treasure. Man, the James Bond video game rights were all over the place, and it's still up in the air. I don't know who even owns the James Bond rights right now, but there's lots of little gems all the way along the way. One of them is Agent Under Fire, which Zach Wajner said that we should take a look at. Electronic Arts made this game back in 2001, and it was out on the PlayStation 2 and the GameCube and the original Xbox, and it was pretty damn cool. Another first-person game with a faceless James Bond that kind of had a little bit of the charm, and there was some similarities to Roger Moore's interpretation of the character, and you're traveling all over the world, and you got all kinds of cool gadgets, and you get to drive the BMW, and it was a pretty solid, fun experience. It's definitely worth tracking down. One of the cool things about Agent Under Fire is that there's actually a direct sequel with Nightfire, which came out a year later, which was also pretty damn solid. I also like that From Russia with Love game that EA made. I really wish that not only would James Bond games return and experiment, I also would love Electronic Arts to return to these days a little bit as well. Maybe not shoot for the fences and make, games that are meant to make $5 billion every time, but just titles that are fun. To put smaller teams on them, experiment, and try stuff like this using, engines and assets that won't break the bank. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. But EA used to do that, and when I take a look at a game like Agent Under Fire, it kind of makes me reminisce and think of simpler days in the video game business, and it makes me sad, man. I miss games like this. Definitely worth tracking down if you happen to be a James Bond fan like myself. It is absolutely a buried treasure. But wait, there's more. The show is just getting started. We've got lots of good content for you, including a review of not just a movie, but a game based on that movie. It's the Lego Movie 2. Take a look. All right, Vancouver, you are killing it. This is the first review that I'm shooting in 2019 in this city in my shorts. It's beautiful out there. I'm talking about the Lego Movie 2 movie and the Lego Movie 2 video game, because I don't think you can really separate each other. I didn't review the Lego Movie 2 film. I did see it a while ago. I do remember feeling a little underwhelmed by the picture.
Oh, the pain.
The Lego Movie 2, I think, suffers from, I think there's little bits of Will Ferrell in there, but we kind of miss him, There's some great messages, there's some bits that definitely work, there's a sense of fun with the music and the sort of hero's journey that we go on with Emmett and the fact that maybe everything isn't always awesome. I liked some of that stuff, but it certainly didn't pack the punch that I was hoping for. I think that there was a real attempt to kind of push more heart and soul into the movie than from in the first one, even though that one surprised you as well. But I think something was lost in there. I don't know if it was the pressures of trying to recapture the magic of something that was a smash success and has now basically generated an industry of Lego films that will come for probably a good long while. There's some nice moments in there where we get to see that sometimes we all feel isolated and sometimes we have to pay a little bit more attention to our friends and their mental health and be a little bit more considerate of one another and not judging books by their covers. I liked all of that. I mean, that was all cool, but it just didn't hit the highs. And the jokes felt a little bit more forced, and when we got into the rapid-fire sequences and the pop culture references, they hit with less, success in the Lego Movie 2. My kid loved the movie, though. She did see it in the theater with me, and she was laughing and smiling. And I think she had a pretty good time watching me play the Lego Movie 2 video game. And I think one of the issues with the Lego Movie 2 video game, is that it's very cumbersome. It's kind of a mess. It's a lot of menus. You're looking at the map a lot. It's kind of a mess. I guess it's the 3 M's for the Lego Movie 2 video game. You're trying to find a bunch of, magical Lego blocks to complete your objective that will allow you to access another world. There are boss fights that you'll get into. You will unlock new open worlds that sort of carry on through the course of the story, but then there are bonus worlds, and there are worlds based on all the adventures of Rex, who is the alternate character that Chris Pratt plays. And what they've done with the level designs here, it's not so much of following the characters along in a sort of a linear direction. Everything's kind of open world on each of these different worlds. So I think they borrowed from the Lego Worlds video game. And I know it's getting confusing because I keep saying Lego and video games, and there's so many of these titles out there. And that might be one of the exhaustive elements here, or one of the things that exhausts me about this game. I mean, there's lots of little imaginative elements in here, but there is also a tremendous amount of repetition, and I started to zone out as I was playing it. I'm usually really along for the ride with the storytelling and the inventiveness of these Lego games, and I think that has a lot to do with the linearity of the way that the plots unfold in these games. The open-ended nature of this means that you're doing a lot of trial and error and trying to remember what your objective is, and more than once I was like, what did I need to get to this for this thing? And I'd go to an arrow marker, and I could not remember what it was in my ginormous bag of tools and tricks that I had in my menu, what I was supposed to plop onto this sort of device.
Well, toughened most of us.
Yeah, I was underwhelmed. I was underwhelmed by the movie, and I was definitely underwhelmed by the game. I think part of it is that the characters that they've introduced, like there's all of these supporting characters and all these cameos of all these famous superheroes and pop culture movie icons. I want to follow along with them. I like playing this makes me want to play Lego Dimensions or jump back into a Lego Marvel game or a Lego DC game. So I just wasn't that invested. I was kind of phasing out. I was beating the levels and completing objectives like, okay. And nothing is too difficult, and there is a lot of the same kinds of mission structures over and over again. Yeah, I was just not surprised. This was kind of a pretty big letdown. I played it on the Switch, and it didn't look that great. And the last game that I played on the Switch was Yoshi's Crafted World, which is phenomenal. And so this was kind of a letdown. Didn't look great, didn't run all that great. The open world quality, you could see a lot of art popping in and drawing in. The draw distance wasn't that great. And I also, like in most of these Lego games, you get stuck for some reason where you question your value in the universe because you're stuck in a Lego game. But it seems like that happens all the time, and that happened in this game a couple of times too. And it was more aggravation this time because like I have a million things in my bag here, in my sack, in my menu. Does not one of these things open this door?
Emmett, what are you doing?
Hooray!
So, underwhelmed by the movie, although there are some laughs and there's some value for the film for sure. I'm going to give the movie a 7.5 out of 10, but the game is majorly disappointing. It's only going to get a 5 out of 10 from me. We have one more movie review for you guys today, and this is Johnny and I. We went out on a movie date for Film Fury, and we took a look at Dumbo, but a little caveat here. I forgot my mic flag, so we had to share a mic, so the audio's a little... But we got our point across. Here's our review.
I'm Johnny Millennium, this is Victor Lucas, and this is Film Fury. And we just got back from a screening of Dumbo.
Yeah.
And you know what we have here?
Dumbo.
We have Dumbo because he forgot his microphone, so he can't talk today.
Well, I have the microphone, just forgot the cable.
Just forgot the cable.
Woo!
Woo. So we're going to share a microphone,
Yep.
and we're going to talk all about Dumbo today.
Can we sing?
Yeah, we can sing.
All
Are we
right.
sing a Dumbo song?
All right.
I don't know. But what we can say is Michael Keaton was in this,
Yeah.
Danny DeVito.
Batman and the Penguin.
I know when you said that, I
Yes.
couldn't believe it.
Yes.
Colin Farrell was in it. And who's that lady who's in this?
Eva Green, the
Yes.
fantastic Eva Green, who I've loved ever since I saw her in Casino Royale, but she's in lots of good movies, and she's such a great actor. I love her.
She's really, really good.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we saw this movie, Dumbo, directed by Tim Burton,
Yep.
and we're huge Tim Burton fans.
Well, I love Tim Burton. I think that he's hit and miss. He's not always, nailing them out of the park, but he's
That's
done
for sure.
lots of great movies, and he's got a visual style. And it's a weird combo to think of, make a live-action cartoon, but it fits with this cartoon. With this particular weird, quirky circus in 1919 kind of vibe, it fits.
Okay, so that's what I have to ask you. We're going to start off with Vic here.
Yeah.
I'm going to point the microphone to you.
Yes.
What did you think of Dumbo?
I enjoyed a lot of this movie. I thought it was a really quirky, weird, surreal, mind trip of a film. Obviously it's about an elephant that can fly, and so if you don't believe the CG, if you don't believe this created elephant, then you've got no movie. But I did. It was such a lovable little creation, so I enjoyed the movie.
I thought it was okay. I saw the original cartoon, which you did as well. You know, that's what we kind of grew up with.
It's the saddest thing. It's such a sad story.
And that's the thing about this movie. It kind of creeps me out a little bit. It's really, all the human characters are so evil and so mean.
Well, not all of them.
Well, not all of them, but a lot of them are.
Yeah.
And that's what makes Dumbo so upset. Everybody wants to kill his mother. I mean, this is really, I was sitting there watching this thinking, do kids want to see this? I don't know if I had kids, if I would want them, bring them to see this. I think they'd be kind of freaked out a little bit.
Well, I mean, Disney had this formula down with the animated work that they did. I mean, they killed Bambi's mother, and there's some sad stuff. And I think
I understand that. Yeah,
there's like a moral framework that they're crafting with that kind of storytelling, and I think this movie actually is a little lighter on some of those touches than in the cartoons, but it still does get a little dark and heavy, and you feel. I mean, I think that's why the movie works for me, is that you feel such empathy for the animals. Even though you're being manipulated, it still is effective.
I don't want to say anything. Like, I enjoyed this movie, but at the same time, I didn't really buy into Dumbo.
Yeah.
I thought the animation of him flying was great, and I kind of applauded that. His relationship with his mother, I could feel that. But the kids are kind of communicating with him, and I'm like, how does he know?
Yeah.
I didn't buy that aspect. I kind of bought all the human characters and all that. Everything, was jiving for me. But I'm not sounding like a hater, but I just thought the movie was okay.
Well,
it didn't really kind of suck me in. And I know I'm in my 40s watching a Dumbo movie, but I still didn't feel it as much as I thought I would.
Well, it's treacly. It has to be kind of a little sappy and a little corny because, Disney is trying to sell merchandise and probably sell the Dumbo ride in Fantasyland. And I sound so cynical when I talk like this, but, there's a huge industry around this. Disney is turning their beloved animated properties into live-action movies.
All of them now.
And Aladdin's coming next. So there is this huge machine around all of this. And I think in spite of that, there's still some real lovely, beautiful moments.
There is some magic in it, for sure. It is Dumbo. But I was hearing that, oh my God, you're going to be choked up in the theater. You're going to be feeling all sorts of emotion. Yeah. And I didn't really feel that. I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel like I was welling up. And this kind of movie should move you. And I wasn't moved as much as I thought I should be. Yeah. And I'm not cynical. I'm not. It's not as though I'm jaded or anything like that.
This man will cry.
I will.
In the right.
I will. I think I cried during Annihilation. During the end sequence. No, I'm just kidding.
I didn't get quite that heavily emotionally involved, but I could certainly I could hear people getting emotionally involved behind me. People were sniffling and I don't think that it's fully committed in that direction either. I think that there was a safety net, like in a circus safety net.
No pun intended.
Around the whole kind of how far can we go emotionally. But, I like Colin Farrell, who is like this war-torn vet who's dealing with the loss of his arm. And
reunited with his kids.
And there's no mom in the picture. She's passed away because of influenza. There's some heavy stuff there. The kids.
Yeah, tough.
Yeah, and the kids are like trying to regain a relationship
with
their
father.
With him, and then they fall in love with this elephant, and then Eva Green comes in, and she doesn't quite trust her relationship with Michael Keaton, who's hamming it up the entire time.
We got to talk about his performance. It was a total hammed up performance. Everything was like, bigger than anything. He's the showman. The top of the circus kind of guy. I kind of enjoyed it. I liked him.
I saw a tweet from one of the movie reviewers that I check out, Bob Chipman. Movie review Bob, I think, but he said it kind of has a little bit of a BioShock vibe in this movie,
or a Fallout vibe as well. There's a little bit of Fallout going on.
And there is this kind of weird, the perfect city of tomorrow kind of thing. Also, I thought it was kind of ballsy that the movie kind of pokes holes in the idea of a Disneyland type deal. Like there's like a theme park, and we've got all these collecting animals.
And that's what I got to say. That was a real Tim Burton theme park. As soon as they shot to that, I was like, this is so Tim Burton. And I was kind of happy in there. I think this movie is okay. I think it's fine. I don't think it's meant for me, but I did enjoy my time. I will never watch it again,
It's certainly well made, right? Like
it is well made.
You can see that a lot of people worked really hard to make this beautiful. And also just you don't always know what's CG and what isn't, but the shot.
Oh, I did.
Well, there is a lot of painted
yeah,
stuff for
yeah.
sure, but there are also lots of beautiful shots of like the flicker of fire and beautiful
Yes.
sunsets and like just gorgeous shots all the way through.
I know, and when Dumbo's flying around, the animation on him is really good. You buy it, as
Yeah.
you said. I fell into it, but I was just like, man, I'm in my 40s.
Yeah.
I just kind of felt that at
Well,
times.
You could feel the puppet master too, right?
Right,
Like-
right.
Like trying to manipulate you to care.
But my problem is I wasn't growing smaller in my like becoming young again watching it, which I thought the movie would do to me.
Right.
I thought it would kind of break my heart a little bit, and it didn't. So
Yeah.
therefore, I
was,
don't know.
I saw the Jungle Book, and I felt the same way.
Yeah.
Everybody was raving about the
I
Jungle
thought the
Book.
Jungle Book was okay as well.
Yeah, I didn't really, but I like this more than the Jungle Book. But that's me. I know a lot of people love the Jungle Book.
You bring up a good point. Is sometimes when you see these movies, like The Lion King, because they're going to do The Lion King next as well, seeing it in the cartoon form evokes such emotion and such characters and all that. And then you see the live action, and I think it's something missing that you can't get back from that magic of hand-drawn animation.
I agree. I think because it's Burton and this pretty complex, competent cast of actors, this actually works much better than I thought it was going to.
Yeah, it does.
But I'm definitely concerned about what's going to happen with Aladdin because I cannot see Aladdin working. I hope it does. I hope we're super
I think
entertained,
it'll
but-
be bad. It'll work well because it'll have a lot more humor in
Well,
it.
it'll have
This
a lot of
movie-
action because
yeah.
the trailer had tons of action.
And
but-
that's the problem with this movie. I don't think it had enough humor in it. It was very serious in its tone
Yeah.
for what it was. And I was watching it, and I don't know, it came to an end, and I was like, okay, that's a movie I saw.
Yeah.
And I'm going to leave the theater and go talk to Vic. And then Vic doesn't have a microphone, and we're going, what are we going to do? And we're sharing a
it's
microphone.
like we're running a circus
It-
already.
Exactly. So what are you going to give Dumbo?
I thought it was pretty cool. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. How about you?
You know what? I'm right there with you, 7 out of 10.
Okay. All right, you guys. Yes, Dumbo is decent. We both came in at around the same score right there. I think it's an all right film for families. So if you've got some little ones and you want to take them, certainly there's some great work in there. But you know what time it is. It's time for Let's Play and Chat. And today I thought since it's spring, let's play MLB The Show 19. And I've got Eli and Fox that are going to come up and play the game with us. Woo! And you guys know the drill. Good to see you, Eli. Thank you for joining us. Sit up there. Fox, that's all yours. I'm going to give you this controller. There you go. And you guys have to look at the TV, or the monitor here, okay? Can you see it okay? Yeah. All right, and Fox, there you go. You should be all set to go. I'm not going to explain anything. You're on your own. Yeah, that's how you start with games, right? I used to invite people over to my house to play video games, and I wouldn't tell them how to control anything. And I spent 2 hours beating them, and it was like, that was fun. It was a good ego boost. So you guys are just going to play. One of you guys is pitching. I think we press options to see. Yeah. Okay. I think you might be ready to rock here, actually. Oh, who pressed that? Somebody pressed that? Okay, there you go. Are you in there? What's going on? Okay, press. There you go. What's going on here? Let's see. We have a frozen machine. Okay, there we go. Oh yes, we're looking there. Okay, current shift, double play. Okay. Yes, we want to keep the changes. There you go. Okay. So you are all set. So take a look at the visuals in this game. Absolutely breathtaking. And you guys know the drill. If you've got any questions or comments or anything you want to talk about with regards to today's show, please go ahead and do that. Please help us out, though, if you're in the chat, and go to all caps for us. You able to pitch? Okay, so who's pitching? So you're batting, and you're pitching. So are you not in there? Let's see. It is 2-player.
Oh, great.
Wait a sec. Oh, okay, there we go. Oh, wait a sec.
Pitched.
Oh, did I pitch?
Yeah,
Oh,
you
sorry. I
just
keep
did.
looking at this. I'm screwing myself up with these two different monitors here. Okay, let's see. Let's get this going. Yeah, there you go. You're all set. So you want to get it into the icon there, and then start it rolling back, and then boom, there you go. Cool. Okay, we have progress. Fantastic. And same with you guys in the room. If anybody's got a question or a comment or anything like that, go ahead and feel free to let us know. Ruby, have you got a question? My daughter's a guest in the audience today, which is awesome. MDK F2420 says, I thought the graphics were kind of crap for 2019. These look amazing to me. Doesn't it look crazy? Yes. Question: do you have a little dark enclosure at VFS for working and gaming? We have an office. We have a working office here, and it's actually totally suitable for doing some editing and doing a little bit of gaming and stuff. But because we've moved the show a little bit later in the day, we tend to not be here all day long, so we can get some stuff done in our home offices before we come on down. I do a lot of my gaming at home in my gaming nook, and I try to sort of silo myself off and get into the content as much as I can. The Ren says, Foobs, you leaning towards Tetris or Dead Cells later? Jose Sanchez is on the chat right now. It's great to see you, Foobs. I love you, buddy. Round of applause for Jose. We miss you, and we are definitely going to Skype with you very soon. We moved into this new space, so we had to get everything set up and bringing live guests and stuff, and we haven't done a Skype call. I think our first Skype call has got to be with you, my friend. So expect some texts about that pretty soon. Vix Den, Blade Blur says, it's great to see everybody here, by the way. Last Disciple is in here. We got Jordan Cunningham, Blade Blur, Taz is in here, Wally West, lots of people from the Arrowverse. Olaf Christensen is in here. That's awesome. Panda's uncle, big fan. How do you keep this show going? I don't see a large viewership. We keep it going, and we have large viewership on some days, and some days we don't, and we just keep it going because we believe in it and we love it, and we do get partners from time to time that help us out with sponsorship or some kind of a, some kind of financial relationship, which is great. Maybe some kind of production kind of partnership that we put together, and that keeps us going and finance through here. We also have a lot of people that join us on the EPN community, which is awesome. You can click that join button and you become basically a subscriber to the channel, which we really appreciate. And then there's merchandise that we sell, so it's a bunch of different avenues. It's not like the TV license deal that we used to have, but it's a different world in media for everybody out there, and you just have to kind of figure out your path, and so that's what we're still doing. But thank you for being a fan, and thank you for being here. Fact, if you play this on a good TV that has 4K and HDR, it should look great. I was playing this earlier on a 4K TV with HDR, and I can confirm it looks freaking amazing, even though it was boring my daughter. My daughter did not enjoy it at all. She said, why does it have to be so boring? But it was fun. Question, what mic did you end up choosing? Blade Blur is asking. Good question. We tested the Shure SM7B against the Loughton LS208, and we did... are you guys doing okay?
I'm very confused.
Have you guys ever played a baseball game before?
No.
Never? Okay, perfect. That's awesome.
This is a new life.
Have we hit the ball yet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, you got one on first base.
You got on a first base? That's amazing.
I think, I don't know.
That's awesome. That's fantastic.
I'm just whacking balls.
We decided on the Loughton LS208. It sounded marginally better, and it didn't need the cloud lifter, which was an external device that we had to plug into before it got into our camera. So a little less stuff to deal with. As you can probably tell, lots of things to hook up around here. So we took one of those things out of the equation. You had a question there, Jamie? I'm looking forward to the Star Wars reveals from Star Wars Celebration. There was a leaked poster and the leaked character art, which looked pretty cool to me. But I'm looking forward to finding out about all of those things. Games-wise, I don't even know what's coming out right now. I haven't had time to kind of look forward into April. But I'll be reviewing this soon. I'm looking forward to the Avengers Endgame. That's what I'm looking forward to. Yeah.
It's me now.
Yes, and the Respawn game is going to be there, yeah. Yeah, good question. That was from Marco and Jamie Andrews. Yeah, and Jamie Andrews had some good questions there. Adrian Leon says, what wasn't the mic I would have voted for? Yeah, I mean, it's a subjective thing. We went back and forth. I like the look of the SM7B a little bit better. Blake liked the look of this one, but this sounds decent. It sounds good. They both sound good. We chose this one. Dan got a question.
So I've got an
Yeah. I think the PlayStation has proven itself to be the superior machine in this generation, but because there's a lot more exclusives that Sony has paid for, and a lot of publishers have decided to go for the PlayStation over the Xbox, so it has a bigger library of fresh games than Xbox does. But Xbox has been incredibly smart because they've offered things like the Xbox Game Pass, where you pay $100 a year, and they're throwing in all of their exclusives for that, which makes it a pretty compelling argument. Plus, if you get the 4K TV and the Xbox One X, you've got a 4K Blu-ray player with the Xbox One X. It's crazy that the PS4 Pro doesn't have 4K. But, you know, it doesn't have a 4K Blu-ray player. You can stream 4K. But what was nuts about last year for PlayStation, they had arguably the 2 Game of the Years that they paid for with God of War and Spider-Man. And they made those. You know, they paid, which is pretty remarkable. Question from Matthew Winstone. What would you consider a good way to learn to play video games? Start at the beginning with the NES, or just something modern but simple? My son isn't quite old enough yet, but soon enough. This is from Matthew Winstone. I think wait until we see what Nintendo is going to be doing with whatever the Switch revisions are going to be. There's rumors that there's going to be 2. They're probably going to phase out the Switch that we know and love right now in favor of a higher end one and a sort of a smaller, maybe portable, focused one. So you can make a decision there. But I think when the Switch becomes a SNES system as well, which is what they're talking about, is unlocking the Super Nintendo library or pieces of that, that's going to become one of the coolest game systems ever made, because it's going to have a lot of the past and a lot of the future, and if the hardware gets better, then a lot of the best looking stuff that's on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 right now is going to be on the new revised Switch. So it's going to be a very broadly appealing machine. But I think a mixture of the old and the new is the way to play it. Yes.
Baseball.
So, question, would you rather be baseball players or video game players? And you're saying baseball player?
This is a really hard question. I would go for video games.
Yeah, I would have guessed that, Fox.
It's a very black and white question.
One day on one of Fox's birthdays, we shot a little mock episode of Electric Playground in our studio, and Fox came in and he interviewed me, and honestly, some of the best questions I've ever had. This guy is amazing. He is a future host right here, future host of EP. Am I excited for the final season of Game of Thrones? Yes, I'm also breathing oxygen. I cannot wait for that. It's gonna be amazing, man. I'm super psyched. I guess that falls into the April. What am I excited about in April? Yes, Game of Thrones and Endgame. We've got a great big, huge month ahead of us, and Star Wars news, and yeah, it's nuts. And then I guess Cuphead for the Switch. But I also think that a lot of the Star Wars land stuff at Disneyland is going to start to be unlocked a little bit, and they're going to have press days, and people are going to we're going to get a really good look at what's going on at Star Wars Land. Big year this year. Blake Siefkin, who would win in a fight, Batman or Spock? I think this is a question of who would win in a fight, Blake or Vic. right here. Batman wins every fight. And he outthinks his opponent. But Spock would be a pretty big challenge. Basically, Batman, Spock, and Sherlock Holmes, you might have a stalemate right there. Yes. Have you got a question? No. Okay. Okay. It's pretty cool, right? Are you guys getting into it?
Yes.
Okay.
We
Question.
Are very confused. I don't know what to do.
My daughter's still saying this is very boring. Question. Hey, Vic, did you get your analog Mega SG yet? If so, are you going to play it here live? I am going to get one, and I am definitely going to play it live. And I reached out to the Analog Twitter people today. So if anybody from Analog is checking this video out, I want to have them in the studio. They're based in Seattle. They're based in Washington. So I want to have one of those people come up here with the machine, show it off, talk about their obsession for classic excellence, because they're making amazing products. I can't wait to get one of those. I was watching videos about that thing all day yesterday.
We're so good at this game. That's overhead.
Let's see. Do I prefer Star Wars prequel trilogy or the Star Wars sequel trilogy so far? Edwin J. This is kind of an unpopular opinion, but I actually think Episode 3 was pretty damn cool. I really liked that movie. It was crazy and over the top, and Lucas, I think, was angry at all the fans who hated the first two, and he wanted to make something really insane, but I liked it, and the more I think of The Last Jedi, the less I like about that. So I think they're kind of in a dead heat right now. It's kind of all up to JJ to make Episode 9 amazing, and I think he will. I think it's going to be awesome.
Wait, what is going on? What the?
I think that... the question was about the Overwatch league with the Vancouver Titans doing really, really well, kicking butt, undefeated pretty much, right? They turned the key on this, and they're one of the best teams in the world. Doesn't surprise me, honestly. I think that Canadians are...
Get it.
No offense to any Americans or English folks or Australians watching this right now, but Canadians are very good at video games. They're great at making them, and they're great at playing them, and they always compete very, very well, and I'm not surprised at all. You know what it is? I think a factor is, especially in team games like Overwatch, Canadians know how to play well together, and Canadians need to do things for 6 to 8 months of the year because the weather is crap. So they're inside playing politely online. I know I'll be proven wrong in some instances, but there is that sense of camaraderie and people getting good at this stuff up here. So go Canada. Question from Jordan Cunningham. Hey Vic, have you played Turok the Dinosaur Hunter Remastered on Switch? No, I have not, but I am going to be playing the Assassin's Creed 3 Remaster on Xbox One, so I'll have some thoughts on that pretty soon. Do I think the break between Gotham's Bane episode and the penultimate episode is too long or just right, and why? This is from JBJ Blaze and TFA. It's pretty crazy, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it beautiful? Okay. Doesn't it make you want to go and play outside too?
Yes.
Right?
Kind of.
Right?
But the weather's not.
It's not this perfect.
It's better.
But it's pretty beautiful. I love this game every year because it reminds me that summer is on the way. I have not caught up on Gotham. That's one of the shows that I am not caught up on. I watched all of the last season. I enjoyed it. It was crazy. I like that they have a shortened season. Very excited to see all of these episodes, but I have not seen it. So I'm going to say that the break is just right. Question from Blade Blur. What about Sekiro? That starts this weekend. It's basically I'm going to be bouncing between Sekiro until that thing makes me so angry that I say I'm going to relax and play some baseball. Then I'll maybe fall asleep a little bit. Then I'll go back to Sekiro. Last question from JB. Oh, we've got some great guests. On Monday, Cooper Bobo is back with us. We haven't had him on a little while. He was one of the producers and actors in Heel Kick. He is also now a game maker, and he's working on other cool projects, so we're going to catch up with him, which is going to be a blast. We've got Cloudhead Studios. They made some fantastic award-winning VR games over the last couple of years. They're in from Vancouver Island. They're taking the trip out here on Wednesday. And on Friday, we're going to have Josh Nilsson, who is the CEO of East Side Games, not too far away from here. They recently wrapped up on the Trailer Park game. Well, I think it's ongoing. The Trailer Park Boys game that you can play on mobile. So he'll have some funny stuff. And on April 8th, we've got Mike Wilson, who is the CEO of Devolver Digital. He's going to be on the show, and he's got some awesome stories to tell. So some great people lined up, and many more to come. But that, I think, my friends, is going to do it for our episode of EP Live today. I'm glad you guys had a good time.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming up. Would you come back and play more games with us another day?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, awesome. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming down.
Thank you for coming. Thank you.
Remember, we're back on Monday with a brand new EP Live. Have an awesome weekend and play forever.